Hi, I'm Gloria, one of the Youth Services Librarians at North Riverside Public Library. Today I'm going to make for dinner pasta fagioli, soup, and fried bread dough. You can find lots of recipes for pasta fagioli, but this is the recipe that my family has made. Very easy. It's good on a day like this day in February where it's snowy and cold, and even if you don't go out to buy something, you probably have all the ingredients on hand anyway, except for the fried bread dough. So you'd have to pick that up. More about that later. But first of all, I'm going to put my soup on. Doesn't take long to cook. It's mostly you just put stuff together in the pan and let it cook by itself. I washed my hands because I use my hands for everything. So I did that first. First of all, I cut up about a quarter of a medium-sized onion, and I've already kind of put it in this pan here and softened it a little bit in vegetable oil. Then I'm going to add my ingredients all together, and it'll cook all together. So I'm making this vegetarian, so I'm using just a vegetarian broth already prepared. I'll pour that in first. And I always use a can of V8 juice. You can use tomato juice too, but it gives it a nice color, nice rich color, and it adds a little more liquid, some vitamins. So I do that with all my soups, add a little V8 juice. Then I add cannellini beans. These are the kind I bought. You can use any kind of bean. You can use kidney beans, navy beans, any kind of white bean. I like these because they are softer, and some of them will break up in the broth and make the soup a little thicker and creamier. Put that in there. Then I cut up one carrot. Put that in. And I'm putting my pasta in, which is, I use the ditalini pasta, small little tubes, kind of like that. Okay, so these are going into about a half a cup of these, and when they cook, they of course get bigger. Then I'm going to add some pepper. And a little bit of Italian spice, just a blend of spice. If you have one spice in particular fresh or something, you can use that, some basil, parsley. Just use a little bit of that. And then the secret ingredient is a dash of cinnamon. So that's it for that. I'm not going to use salt because there's salt in the V8 juice and people can add their own. So I'm going to stir it. You can see it's got a nice rich color, which it'll keep. And I'm going to cover it and put it on low on my burner. Okay, so that'll cook itself. All I have to do for it, it'll be all ready in about maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours. Check it after an hour and see how it looks, if the pasta is cooked and things are a little creamy. Next, I'm going to make my bread dough. I don't know if you've made this before, but it's a traditional Italian dish. Some people put sugar on it when it's cooked. Some people put salt. My family uses salt. Probably too much salt. First of all, I bought the bread dough. I bought it already prepared at the Italian. I bought it at the Italian grocery store. You can also buy it at a regular store. It's in the frozen section for making bread. They sell actual bread dough, which you'd have to thaw and let rise, like I did this. This was in a bag this morning I bought, and I took it out of the bag, put it in the dish, and just let it sit by itself. and it rose up really nicely. This was a pound of bread dough. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to put some oil in my pan. And this is going to be the side dish to my soup. Instead of bread or crackers, it's going to be bread dough. And I'm going to put some vegetable oil in the pan. I use olive oil for a lot of things, but I don't use it for frying bread dough because olive oil has its own specific taste. And I don't want the bread dough to pick up the taste of the olive oil. I want it to just taste like bread dough. So I have, let me show you how I'm cutting this. Okay, I've already cut off some of these. This is actually what they make pizza out of too, the actual bread dough. So I'm pulling them apart like this to make pieces. And I cut off a piece of the bread dough like this and just kind of pull it. Same way if you were going to make pizza with this dough, you would put some oil in the bottom of your pan and just spread it out like this. Just keep working it with your fingers till you get to the edges of the pan, and then add your ingredients. Very easy to make bread dough crust, pizza crust. My family would make the bread dough from scratch, but I don't. It's actually not hard to do. I think it's flour and water and I don't know, not too many ingredients, but I have never made it myself from scratch. I always buy it. Okay, so you make them like this. And then, usually you heat up the oil first, but I'm just going to put them in the way they are now so you can see how it looks. This. This. And this one. I got room for one more, like this. You'll probably want to fix this pretty much when you're ready to eat, but it heats up very well. Just put it in the oven on a piece of tin foil, leave it open, and it'll heat up very well. So it'll look like that. And I'm going to cook these now. Put it on kind of a medium heat. And you do have to watch it. You can't just leave this cook by itself because it'll burn. So kind of a medium heat. You let it'll puff up as it's cooking. The pieces will puff up, and you'll be able to tell when it's time to turn it. So you have to pretty much stay here and watch it. When it's ready to turn, you turn. I also like to, when I take them out, drain them on paper towel, and then I'll put them on some tin foil and heat it up later when my soup is ready. Make a salad, and that's it for this cold, wintry evening. We'll have some comforting soup. I hope you try it. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.